In this video, we're going to talk about what I learned from strongman training and how to apply it for a general fitness program for life. So this question comes from @DuncanMoreland6811, and they asked, how would you take what you've learned from your strongman training and apply that for the average person who wants to train to stay healthy and able for life, especially as we age? So more general than for specific goals or sports. Thanks for the free and interesting content. Like your blend of modalities. Thank you for asking that @DuncanMoreland6811. So this was actually a question that I actually tried to answer before, but realized I owe you more than what I had done. Usually when I do these videos, it's done in one take. So how would I take what I've learned from my strongman training and apply that for health and life? So there's a bunch of different stuff that I could go into. One, this is what I learned from my first mentor, the late New Jersey Superman, Greg Matonic, who reverse engineered a vaudeville-era strongman named the Mighty Atom, which was the importance of the mindset. So some of the things that Greg taught me is to set your mind and focus on what you want, and then you just look at the training as your body just going through the motions in like an instant replay. It's already been established up here. So how that would apply to life and health and being able. So for one of the things to understand is that the mind drives the body. You know, like if you've ever heard of a book called As a Man Thinketh, one of the things that the mind thinks, the body has a tendency of making real. So as far as how that would apply to health, if you've ever seen any drugs, or if you know how pharmaceuticals bring drugs to the market, they have to split test it in clinical settings against the placebo to make sure that the drug is able to do something that just believing that you could do it wasn't able to. Now, that's talking about the drugs, but what I think is oftentimes left out is the power of that placebo, which is believing that you can get better. So one of the things is, like, if you visualize yourself being healthy, you are more likely to be healthy. Now, that's not saying that you shouldn't go to a doctor or anything. That's just saying that beliefs are a powerful thing, and that's one of the reasons it drives me nuts when someone says that they are terminally ill and they only have 6 months, a year, whatever to live. It's like, you don't know that. What you should say is, we've done everything we can. The rest is up to you. Now, going back to the whole set your mind thing, that one of the things with that is to set your mind also on the goal. So when you have a goal in mind, like let's just say, for example, it is your dream physique. Visualize that goal, set your mind, and stay focused, and you stay focused on it, and don't let anything stop you until you have gotten your goal. That's important. It's to stay focused on the task and to quite simply do the things that you can. The other thing that I would say is believing that you can. Believing that you can achieve that goal, believing that the medicine is working, etc., etc. If you don't believe that you can do something, you're not going to quite give it your all. You're not going to do the things that is intended to be done. You might even subconsciously sabotage yourself in the process. If you've ever read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, they talk about that self-image, and that self-image being kind of like the goal-setting mechanism. If you visualize that goal and you truly believe that not only you can do it, but you deserve to do it, you are more likely to achieve it. You're less likely to sabotage yourself in the process. One of the other things that I learned, this came from my current coach, Hercules Chris Ryder, and it was also backed by Slim the Hammerman Farman. Slim the Hammerman Farman was the top student of the late, great the Mighty Atom, who I just mentioned. The Mighty Atom, vaudeville-era legend, who was a strongman that was about my size. That could do things like bite through spikes and chains and do insane things. He taught Slim, and then one of the things that Slim talked about is the setup. Now, the setup, it applies to specifically to the feats. You know, like with the chest expansion feat that he had done, he would swing the belt 3 times before he put it on. It was always 3 of them. When he would do his signature feat of levering sledgehammers, he would make sure that there was no dust on the thing, and he would take exactly 3 steps. He had this process. Now, with that, one of the things it does is it kind of frees up your mind. If this comes first, then this is what's always going to come second. So how this might apply to something like a bench press. With me, what I do is I lay down, I grab the bar, I balloon my chest, I pull myself up to the bar, and then I lay down so that my neck is flat and my chest is ballooned and my feet are driven into the floor. It is the same thing every time. Take a deep breath into my chest, unrack it, pull it down, press it back up. That repetition is the same every time. My subconscious mind knows what's going to happen next. And the same thing happens for various other exercises. On the overhead press, it's like feet together, glutes tight, set my vision on something that is just a little bit above eye height. Press, move my head out of the way, replace it, put it back. Every single time. If you've ever watched ball players, like I don't really watch sports, but one of the things that I noticed is that whenever someone is at bat, there's a particular ritual. You know, like Matsui would hold the bat like this, it'd go above his head 3 times, and he would be ready to go. Derek Jeter always adjusted his gloves. There was nothing wrong with his gloves. What it did is it helped him feel secure in what was happening next, which was hitting the ball. The setup. One of the other things, and this is a strategy, a more specific strategy, this is something that I learned from Hercules Chris Ryder when it came to ripping decks of cards, which is micro incremental progression. Start where you are, build slowly upon it. Too many people, when they start training, they go all guns blazing, too hard, too soon, too fast. And when you do that, you end up hitting a wall. That's like when the law of accommodation sets in and it says, well, whatever the heck this is, it ain't going to kill me, so stop adapting. But if you just adjust it slightly on your way up, it never trips off those threat mechanisms that shut the entire process down. It just keeps building and building and building because it's different enough to warrant adaptation, but similar enough where it's not like, what the heck is going on here? Trying to think, is there anything else that I live? Oh, so, and you said healthy and able for life. This is actually one of the key things is, you know, one of the things that I preach to my personal training clients, it's not just about getting fast results. It's also about being able to sustain the results for a lifetime, because like I don't want people coming into my program 12 weeks, they're healthy, fit, and then they leave and then they get out of shape again. This is a kickstart to a more active and healthy lifestyle. And one of the things with that is that I think that strength is actually the key to longevity. A lot of attention gets paid to the cardiovascular system, and I'm not saying that that's not important. I'm saying also pay attention to your strength, because particularly as people get older, when you lose the strength to get in and out of a chair relatively easily, when it becomes such a burden that you stop, it's more trouble than it's worth to get up and shut off the TV, that you just hit the remote. You get up less times, and as you do that, it begins like this downward spiral. And even though cardiovascular disease is still the #1 killer in the US and cancer is #2, complications that come from falling is one of the top threats to people that are 65 and older. Now, strength is kind of the key to stopping this, getting the strength to stand yourself up from the floor after you've fallen. And I'll give an example of this. One of my clients is over 60 years old, but she is mighty. And if she's watching this, she knows who I'm talking about. She can do 10 chin-ups without issue. I once coached her to doing a chin-up with 56 pounds hanging from her waist. Well, she wasn't quite 60 yet, but she was close. Now, one day she was out riding her bike, and I guess she wasn't paying attention or something, hit something, went over the handlebars. And as she went over the handlebars and she hit the ground, gashed herself up pretty badly and stuff. But the first thought that was in her head was, well, that was stupid. I hope nobody saw that. If she was someone else, if she didn't have that strength, that could have literally been a fatal situation. But luckily, she is strong, and she was able to get up, dust herself off, go home, get all bandaged up and stuff. Strength is the key to longevity, and one of the things that truly intrigued me about the steel bending strongman world is it seemed like strength didn't affect them. You know, like, I don't know if you've ever seen that episode of America's Got Talent where that guy that was 90 years old was able to pull a car with his teeth. That man was Mike Greenstein. He was the son of the mighty Atom. And I knew him when he was still alive. I even had the distinct privilege of bending a steel bar on his nose. And I tell you, that was a feat that I've been more scared to perform than anything I've ever done to myself, including the motorcycle. Now, on that also, going back to what Slim had taught me, Slim, on his 80th birthday, had challenged me to do his challenge feat that he did back when he was in his heyday, which was levering a 12-pound sledgehammer at the end of a 31-inch handle. At the time, I was still an up-and-comer. So I, you know, like, being a pretty strong guy, I thought to myself, I'm like, I gotta show these guys that I belong with them. So I looked at that sledgehammer and I'm like, I gotta make this happen. And I got down and I got it maybe levered about that high off the ground, and I wasn't able to get the rest of it. Slim, 80-year-old man, then takes that hammer away, that 12-pound hammer away, replaces it with a 24-pound one, which is an insane amount of torque on your wrist. And he was able to do that at 80. If he can do that, what can the rest of us do? You know, like, when you are able to build up that foundation of strength when you're younger, and you can maintain that strength, you know, like, your reflexes start to diminish as you get a bit older. Like, forget when a boxer peaks. Speed might also diminish too. But strength doesn't seem to go anywhere. If you've ever heard that term, old man strength, that's what they're talking about. It's that sometimes when people are strong when they're young, as long as you stay active and you stay with training, you don't get weak. You maintain your strength, and you can maintain your strength for years on end. There are power lifters that are still able to put up like some pretty impressive numbers, no matter how old they seem to get. So that informs a lesson for the rest of us. Start when you're young. And if you're not young, start now. You know, like, the best time to start would have been like 10, 15, 20 years ago. The next best time to start is now. Start now, or start a long time ago. Build incrementally, and then maintain it as you go through life. Set your mind on that and stay focused, and don't let anything stop you. Honestly, that would be the key to applying strongman training to life and staying healthy and able and fit and all that stuff. But if you like this video, let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more of this sort of thing, subscribe to the channel, or you can also see the chronicles for my various performances that I perform across the country. And if you want to, or if you think anybody should see this, please share it with them. The YouTube thing isn't rocket science. And if you want to support the channel, do all those things that I just talked about. Or you could purchase a copy of my book, link in the description below. Or you can also purchase some coffee from Good For You Coffee Club that's free of preservatives and mold and stuff like that. And it's actually really delicious coffee. And if you do that, use the promo code MyPower10 to save 10% off of that order, as well as any other orders you use that promo code for. But that's it for today. Stay tuned for next time. And in the meantime, please stay happy, healthy, and strong. Eric Moss, over and out.